Hi everyone. Today, we are the representative of WZS Consulting Corp. Our management consulting project will today investigate the Union Carbide Corporation's failure to implement international safety standards contributing to its role in the Bhopal Gas Tragedy. Today, me, Willen,
Me, Zoe.
And I, Shannon.
will be diving into the major problem that we can identify in the case. In the case, we will identify Union Carbide Corporation's failure to enforce standardized safety and technological measures required in the Union Carbide India Limited's plant facility. Our first recommendation will be suggesting in the technological environment aspect. The first recommendation is strengthening UCC's safety systems through more investment in computerized technology. To address the technological gap at the Bhopal plant, UCC should invest in more advanced automated safety systems and technologies for USIL. Technological upgrades include installing computerized control systems such as sensors, alarms, and maintenance schedule trackers. These critical safety equipments can help detect malfunctions and prevent accidents from happening. Now, my group member Zoe will talk about how this task will be carried out.
To bring this recommendation to life, there are several important steps that UCC must follow, starting with the Bhopal plan. First, UCC should assess the current safety systems like the refrigeration unit, steam boiler, and vent gas scrubber to find any weaknesses. Then they need to plan for real-time monitoring and automation by choosing smart tech like sensors, alarms, and safety software. Once the right tools are selected, UCC must install them and connect them smoothly with existing systems. Staff, including engineers and technicians, should be trained to use the new systems properly, since tech only works if people know how to manage it. Regular testing and inspections are also key to making sure everything functions well in emergencies. Lastly, routine quality audits should be done to catch issues early and keep improving safety through maintenance. Now let's take a look at who's responsible for making each of these steps happen. The initial assessment and planning will be carried out through a collaboration between UCC's internal safety specialists and external engineering consultants, combining local and risk knowledge with international safety standards. Procurement and installation will be coordinated by UCC's procurement team in partnership with trusted external technology vendors who supply the required equipment. For system integration and training, the technology vendors will handle installation and connectivity, while UCC's internal training team will lead staff onboarding and education to ensure smooth adoption. Ongoing testing and auditing will be responsibility of the USIL maintenance team, closely overseen by UCC's Global Quality Management Department. This structured approach promotes accountability and ensures that expert knowledge is applied at every stage of the process. Next, my group member Shannon will be explaining the timeline and location of task completion.
Timeline and location of task completion, when and where. This recommendation will be rolled out at the Bhopal plant in India, and we will propose this following 6-month timeline. Months 1 and 2, the Bhopal plant can conduct the safety assessment and develop a detailed plan. Months 3 and 4, they can procure the necessary technologies and complete their system installation. Month 5, they can integrate the new systems into existing infrastructure and provide an in-depth staff training. For month 6 and beyond, they can begin regular system testings, scheduled maintenance, and ongoing quality audits. For the costs, implementing this plan will involve several different types of costs. For the first cost is the capital cost. The capital cost covers the purchase of real-time monitoring systems, sensors, and automated safety equipment. Next are the operational costs. This includes maintenance, software updates, and long-term technical support to keep everything running smoothly. Then we have administrative costs, which relates to hiring consultants, coordinating audits, and managing implementation at the corporate level. Training costs are also key. Staff must be educated on how to operate and troubleshoot these systems properly. Lastly, there are audit costs, which will recur over time to ensure continued system performance and compliance. Next, my teammate is going to discuss about the potential problems.
With the recommendations we have suggested, there will be potential problems that might challenge this from happening. First, there might be resistance from employees who may be uncomfortable with the new technologies. Technical issues when integrating new system with old infrastructure might also cause delays to logistics and the regulatory requirements. High upfront investment may be viewed as a financial burden. And also, there are risks of ineffective implementation if training is insufficient. Now, we will dive into the second recommendation that is in the global conditions aspect. In this global condition aspect, the recommendation 2 involves ensuring safety without borders and establishing UCC's international standards. To address the lack of international standards for the subsidiary company, UCC should implement international health and safety management standards across all the global operations, including subsidiaries like UCIL. A consistent set of global safety and environmental regulations must be enforced in every location. Adoption of the ISO 45001 is a recognized international standards that should act as the minimum requirement for all subsidiaries. Now, my group member Zoe will talk about how these steps can be carried out.
To put this recommendation into action, several key steps must be taken. First, UCC should create a formal global health and safety policy based on ISO 45001 that applies to all operations. Next, full audits at every subsidiary, including UCIL, are needed to assess current safety and environmental practices. Employees and local suppliers must receive proper training on safety standards, emergency procedures, and environmental duties. UCC should also enforce regular equipment maintenance and safety updates to prevent malfunctions or environmental risk. Clear communication between the parent company and subsidiaries is essential for sharing safety updates and feedback. They also need a solid compliance system with regular internal and third-party inspections. Finally, all suppliers' contracts should require the same safety standards to avoid any weak links in the system. Now let's talk about who will be responsible for each of these tasks. The Global Health and Safety Director at UCC will take the lead in developing the overall policy and making sure it's properly rolled out across all international operations. Regional compliance managers will handle the safety audits in their areas, making sure everything is being done correctly and in line with the policy. Training coordinators will be in charge of creating and delivering training sessions for both employees and local suppliers. They'll make sure the content fits the specific needs and risk levels of each location. At the local level, plant managers, like those at UCIL, will make sure safety standards are being followed in day-to-day operations. The legal team will update supplier contracts and check that all the new standards meet local laws and regulations. Lastly, both internal and external audit teams will regularly check on compliance and give recommendations for any areas that need improvement. Next, my teammate Shannon will be explaining the timeline and location of task completion.
For the when and where, in months 1 and 2, the policy will be developed at UCC's headquarters. In months 3 to 5, audits will be conducted across all subsidiaries, including UCIL in India, to assess their current systems. In months 6 and 7, training programs will be rolled out locally in each subsidiary's country. Starting from month 8 onwards, the actual implementation of policies will take place, along with the routine maintenance, schedules, and compliance monitoring. And then every 6 months, UCC will conduct reviews of all locations to ensure that the standards are up to date and being followed correctly. Next up, my group member is going to discuss about the costs.
The costs that might be incurred in accomplishing the recommendation we suggested are training costs involved in developing and delivering training content and materials. There will be costs for audits and inspection, which is for traveling tools and the labor for auditing teams. Implementation costs should also be incurred for the facility upgrades, new equipments, and systems improvements. There will be legal costs for the contract revisions and regulatory compliance. There will also be monitoring costs for software data collection tools and compliance tracking. Now, my group member Shannon will talk about the potential problems in executing these recommendations.
Lastly, it is important to be aware of the potential challenges. UCC may face resistance to change, especially from local management or staff who are unfamiliar with the strict international standards. There could be high costs, particularly for subsidiaries in developing countries where current facilities might be outdated. Delays in implementation may also occur due to logistics, lack of trained staffs, or supply issues. Another problem is that communication issues between headquarters and distant subsidiaries could lead to misunderstandings or inconsistent implementation. Applying the same standards uniformly across legal systems and cultural expectations might be difficult. Finally, some local suppliers may not comply with the new standards unless closely monitored, which could pose a serious risk.
To conclude, we are here to thank all of you for listening at our problem identification and analysis, and we hope you will be following our suggestions and recommendations following the case that we have analyzed. Thank you.
Thank you.